Every night, he sipped coffee unbeknownst to her. This lonely CEO was a millionaire single dad. Mike poured the steaming coffee into his favorite mug, the warmth wrapping around his hands like a comforting embrace. The rich aroma filled his suburban Chicago kitchen, masking the emptiness echoing in the hall. At 42, he was a CEO, steering a quiet empire built from the remnants of the family business, but the titles and accolades didn't fill the void left by his late wife. Night after night, he found solace in this routine, yet each sip only deepened the ache of loneliness. Across the table sat an untouched plate of cookies, a failed attempt at sparking a conversation with his teenage daughter, Lily. She was lost in her own world, headphones clamped over her ears and a distant look in her eyes. The silence stretched between them heavy, like a weight. "Dad?" she finally asked, pulling them off. Her brow was furrowed, laden with the secrets of adolescence, as if she were wrestling with the shadows of her missing mother. "Can we talk about Mom?" Tears threatened to spill as he feigned a smile. "Sure, honey. Whenever you want." But it was always whenever, never the right moment. Their relationship was anchored in silence, a search for connection that fell short. Meanwhile, the neighborhood buzzed with gossip, spinning tales of the mysterious millionaire in the midst of their midst, the dad who put family first yet carried the weight of his wealth as a cross. He wore a mask of humility, shielding himself from judgment while navigating PTA meetings filled with whispers, where appearances were everything. He was a man of mystery, yet utterly alone. Just as the horizon hinted at dawn, Mike's thoughts drifted toward the looming community crisis, the local public school teetering on the edge of closure, a cause that ignited the passionate heart of Sarah, an idealistic teacher with wild curls that bounced like her aspirations. They'd met at a town meeting, and she had struck a chord within him, igniting memories of vibrant family dinners that once filled their home. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But misunderstanding brewed between them like an uninvited storm. Mike's instinct to shield Lily from scrutiny clashed with Sarah's fierce determination for change. The tension mounted like thunder rumbling overhead. One moment they shared convictions, the next they felt worlds apart. And then a crisis hit. An unexpected fire destroyed a part of the community center, amplifying their differences into a cacophony of urgent action. As they were thrust together, Mike found himself at the intersection of fear and hope. The community needed a leader, yet he felt his wealth could taint the good he aimed to do. But then came the revealing moment when Mike's fortune slipped through his fingers, and rumors spread like wildfire through the neighborhood. Whispers of entitlement mixed with accusations of disconnect ignited questions about morality and merit. He was torn. Could be the father he wanted to be while being a man of means. As night crept in, the coffee cooled quietly in his cup. The weight of revelations loomed large, and Mike faced an uncertain future. Would he step into the light of vulnerability, opening himself to connection with Sarah and protecting his daughter, or retreat farther into his shadows? Each sip no longer provided warmth, but rather a reflection on choices yet to be made. The sun crept slowly over the horizon, casting a soft glow into Mike's kitchen. He sat still, his coffee mug cradled in his hands, staring blankly at the steam rising. The world felt heavy this morning. He had spent part of the last night tossing and turning, wrestling with the implications of the fire, the rumors, and the toll they all had on his fragile relationship with Lily. Lily, still wrapped in a cocoon of teenage angst, shuffled in, her hair a whirlwind of wildness, and sat across from him. She blinked, eyes still clouded with sleep. For a moment, they simply studied one another, each searching for answers in the silence. "Can we go to the community center later?" she asked, her voice barely rising above a whisper. Mike felt the pinch of hope swell in his chest. "Sure, if they're doing anything." His voice trailed off, unsure if the center was even open after the damage. As if sensing his hesitation, she added, "I want to help clean up." The sincerity in her voice made Mike's heart swell. Maybe this was their moment to bridge the gap between them, to mend what wasn't spoken. But then anxiety crept back in. Would this be enough to draw her closer to him or just dig a deeper hole? "Great," he replied, trying to inject enthusiasm into his voice. "I'm sure they'd love the help." Before any more words could spill into the air, the unmistakable sound of a doorbell rang through the house. Lily perked up, her interest piqued. "Who could that be this early?" she said, her youthful curiosity breaking through her morning fog. Mike shrugged and set his mug down, wiping his palms on his jeans before rising to answer the door. Standing on the doorstep was Sarah, the curls bouncing with her own energy, a concerned expression etched across her face. "Hi, Mike," she greeted warmly, her eyes darting to Lily before landing back on him. "I heard about the fire. I wanted to see how you and Lily were doing." Mike's chest tightened. Her kindness felt like an anchor, or a weight he wasn't sure he could handle. "We're managing," he said carefully. The truth was murky, tangled with worry and insecurity. Lily, sensing the tension, stepped forward. "We're going to help clean up at the community center later," she declared, her tone firm. Sarah's face brightened, a genuine smile breaking through her concern. "That's fantastic. They really need volunteers." They stood there for what felt like an infinite moment, each aware of the words unspoken. The air buzzed with potential, the kind that came with facing fears head-on. "Maybe I could join you?" Sarah suggested, her voice steady but hopeful. Mike felt a wave of apprehension wash over him. He had spent years retreating, fear of judgment holding him back. Now, as he stood between the two strong women in his life, he could sense a shift. Would he close his heart off again, or risk vulnerability? "Yeah, that would be great," he finally managed, a tiny flicker of brave breaking free. Their eyes met, and for a brief moment, he thought he could see something spark an unspoken connection, or perhaps the streaks of understanding that had been eluding him all along. As they walked out together, Mike felt the butterflies of uncertainty twist in his stomach. But this time, they weren't just nerves, they were the beginnings of hope. Now the question lingered in the air: could this ordeal be the catalyst for comfort and connection in their fractured world? With every step towards the community center and toward whatever challenges awaited them, Mike couldn't shake the feeling that something monumental was just around the corner. What if this was the turning point? An unexpected moment that could redefine everything he believed about family, belonging, and love. The community center came into view, its once bustling facade now marred by blackened char and peeling paint. A heavy silence hung in the air, broken only by the distant sounds of hammers and chatter from volunteers already at work. Mike felt a shiver creep up his spine as he took in the damage. But with that chill, a determination flickered to life inside him. Lily walked closely beside him and Sarah, her gaze shifting from the wreckage to the people working tirelessly. "It's sad," she murmured, and for a brief moment, Mike could see the weight of the world resting on her young shoulders. "Yeah, but look at all the people coming together," Sarah said, gesturing toward a group of older volunteers who were already setting up tables. Their laughter was a balm, easing away the heaviness surrounding them. "This community cares. That's what matters." As they approached the entrance, Mike's heart raced. He wondered if he could still be a part of this community. He had once been a fixture here, but now, the distance felt like a chasm. Lily pulled away slightly, intrigued by the sounds coming from within. "I bet they have a lot to do," she said, her voice imbued with a newfound eagerness. Mike marveled at her resilience. Maybe today was more than just cleaning up, it was a step toward her coming back to herself. Inside, the smell of cleaner and burnt wood hit them like a wave. It was gritty and raw but mixed with undertones of hope. Mike spotted an elderly man directing a group of teenagers and felt a sense of belonging tug at his heart. Perhaps there was room for his family in this recovering space after all. "You both should grab some gloves," he suggested, nudging Lily toward a supply station. "You'll need them." As they slipped on the gloves, Sarah leaned closer, her voice low. "I'm proud of you for bringing her here, Mike. This could mean a lot for both of you." Her kindness felt rich and filling, like a warm hug on a cold day. Lily was already waving enthusiastically at the teenagers as they tossed water bottles back and forth, forgetting for a moment the sadness that lingered in the air. Mike felt a smile tug at his lips, a blend of pride and reflecting the flickering flame of hope that quite possibly warmed his spirit. As they settled into tasks, scrubbing tables and picking up debris, laughter bubbled up. Once reserved, Mike found himself joining in. He dared to share jokes with Lily, even making her giggle sounds he had feared would be lost between them. Each moment felt like building blocks, slowly reconnecting shattered tiles. But then, in an instant, everything changed. A large piece of scaffolding fell with a crash, sending a ripple of alarm through the crowd. Mike's heart raced as he turned, eyes darting. Lily had been standing just a few feet away from the chaos. "Lily!" he shouted, fear slicing through the air like a blade. She looked up, wide-eyed, and froze. As time slowed, Mike's instinct kicked in. He bolted toward her, every part of him screaming for her safety. But what if he wasn't quick enough? What if he failed her again? In that pivotal moment, everything hung in the balance. Would he reach her in time, or would this day push them further apart, back into shadows of uncertainty? He felt the world narrowing, the echoes of laughter faded. Would this day end in tragedy, or could it mark a pivot point, destiny sharpening their connection despite the rubble? The crash echoed in Mike's ears, shaking him from his thoughts. His heart pounded against his ribs like a war drum. Panic surged through him. The world narrowed to a single point, Lily. The way she stood, frozen, eyes wide with shock, it sent a rush of adrenaline coursing through him. "Lily!" he yelled again, the growing crowd blurring into the background. Was anyone else moving? It felt like time had stilled around them. He sprinted, each step heavy with desperation. He felt the sweat trickle down his back, mixed with the fear gripping his chest. He couldn't let her get hurt, not again. Not after everything they'd gone through. Just as he reached her, the dust settled from the scaffold's impact, revealing Lily standing in place, unharmed but shaken. Relief washed over him like a wave crashing on shore, but it quickly morphed into something heavier as he wrapped his arms around her. She felt fragile, a small heartbeat thumping against his chest. "Are you okay?" he asked, looking into her eyes, searching for any sign of fear. She nodded, but her hands trembled, the gloves threatening to fall from her fingers. "What was that?" Lily whispered, her voice small. "A mistake," he answered softly. The noise had drawn everyone's attention, and around them, volunteers were rushing over, checking on one another. The community came together in an instant, a protective blanket wrapping around them. Mike felt grateful for their presence, yet it made the moment feel even more raw. As Mike pulled back, he noticed her face, pale but resilient. "I didn't mean to scare you," he said, brushing a loose strand of hair from her face. "Just don't stand under anything that looks unsafe, okay?" "I won't," she replied, a hint of a smile breaking through her shock. It sent a flicker of warmth through him. Maybe it was a small step, but they were still moving forward. Sarah found them, breathless. "I saw it too late. I'm just glad you're both okay." She looked at Lily, then back at Mike, a mixture of relief and questions in her eyes. "What happened?" "A scaffold fell. But she's fine now," he said, hugging Lily close. As the group around them settled back into tasks, the atmosphere shifted. Laughter mingled with the sounds of work. It reminded Mike of better days when they had all gathered at the center for events, their community woven together like a tapestry of lives. And in that moment, he felt a flicker of hope anew. There was strength in this community. It might be what they both needed. Lily took a deep breath, and on the exhale, the tension in her shoulders eased slightly. "Can we go help over there?" Her eyes sparkled with eager determination as she pointed toward a group collecting shingles. "Sure, let us go," he replied, feeling the heat of pride swell in his chest once again. As they joined the others, the shared laughter and camaraderie filled the air again. A group of teenagers was teasing each other as they counted the shingles. Mike could see Lily's laughter joining theirs, and it made his heart swell. But just as the atmosphere began to lighten, a voice broke through, sharp and splitting the moment. "Hey, what happened over there? Is anyone hurt?" Mike turned, startled. A man in a hard hat, fury etched across his face, stormed toward them. "We can't have distractions. We need to finish this right." The harshness of his words pressed down on Mike. Would this man take the joy of the day away just as swiftly as the scaffolding had fallen? He exchanged glances with Lily and Sarah, a silent question hanging in the air between them. In that instant, Mike realized the challenge ahead was more than just cleaning up, it was about rebuilding hope, together. Would they be able to face the anger in this moment, or would it threaten to overshadow the progress they had begun to make? He steadied himself, breath hitching, ready to face whatever came next. It was time to stake a claim in this community for himself and for Lily. The real test was just beginning. Would it strengthen their ties or pull them apart once more? Mike felt his stomach tighten as the man approached, his face a storm cloud of anger. He'd seen this kind of intensity before, and it always made him wary. "We need to focus on the work," the man barked, hands on his hips. The light-hearted momentum around them began to deflate, laughter dimming under the weight of his words. Mike glanced at Lily, who was now looking at the ground, her smile wiped away. He hated that this stranger could ruin the moment. He felt defensive, protective. "Look, it was an accident. No one was hurt, and we are all here to help," Mike responded, keeping his voice steady. He noticed Sarah beside him, bristling with anxiety as she readied herself to jump in. "Doesn't it matter? An accident like that can't happen again. We need to keep this site safe," came the rigid reply. The man didn't even blink, his focus locked on Mike. "Safety is important, but so is morale. You can't take that away from us, not today." Mike stepped closer, energy flowing through him. He felt an urge to stand his ground, to defend the fragile moment the community was stitching together. "Morale doesn't fix damaged property," the man shot back, clearly frustrated. Mike glanced to the side, noticing the looks exchanged among volunteers. Faces were shifting, some confused, others angry. Some looked disappointed. "Sure it doesn't, but neither does shouting at people," Sarah piped up, her courage fueling Mike's resolve. He could see her heart racing, her desire to protect what they had even stronger than her fear of confrontation. "Watch your tone," the man warned, but there was a slight falter in his grip on the situation now. "Or what?" Mike's voice was louder than he intended. It rang out through the crowd, a challenge hanging heavy in the air. "We're trying to build something here. A community. To pull together after everything that has happened." "I'm trying to do my job," the man retorted, but Mike could see cracks forming in his facade. "Your job doesn't have to come at the price of our spirit." "Not today," Mike said, and for a moment, the tension snapped like a taut string. You could almost feel the weight lift as shared gazes settled on this man with mixed feelings. The crowd behind Mike, once muffled and murky, now hummed with a soft murmur. The laughter returned, but with a nervous edge. "Maybe we could all just take a breather," said one voice from the group, uncertainty threading through the words. A slow nod from someone else behind them seemed to ripple out. In that instant, Mike looked at Lily again. He could see her eyes shining, the fire sparking back into being. They were all in this together, courage blossoming in every corner of the crowd. Would they really push back against the harshness, or would they stumble under the weight of one man's anger? "That's right," Lily stepped forward, her voice shaky but resolute. "If we can take a second to breathe, we can work better." Together. Mike's heart soared. The man paused, a flicker of doubt in his eyes. Perhaps he didn't realize how powerful unity could be. As the tension hung, Mike reached for Lily's hand, squeezing it to promise both courage and comfort. He felt a shift, small yet monumental, the first step toward rebuilding together. But before they could celebrate their small victory, someone called out from the back, "Did you hear about the rumor?" "What rumor?" murmured another voice, curiosity piqued. "About the funding that fell through for this project." An electric pulse shot through the crowd, and Mike's optimism wavered. Was there more at stake than just hard work and camaraderie? What would happen if the foundation of this hope began to crumble? Would they be able to confront this new challenge together? The atmosphere shifted like the wind before a storm. Eyes widened, brows furrowed, and gasps filled the air as the word funding lingered on everyone's lips. Mike felt that familiar knot tightening in his stomach again, but this time it was sharper, a stinging realization that their hard work could be overshadowed just like that. "Are you serious?" someone called out from the back. "Everyone put in so much effort." "Yes. We can't let this fall apart now." Another voice echoed, desperation curling in every syllable. Mike turned to face the crowd, feeling the weight of their grief and frustration. "We didn't come this far to give up," he shouted, his voice striving to pierce the thickening fog of doubt between him and the rest of the volunteers. "We have each other. We can find a way to keep this project alive." Lily stepped closer, her expression fierce, a mix of determination and dread. "We've built more than walls and roofs," she added, glancing at the assembled crowd. "We've built friendships, and we can't let someone's careless words tear that down." The glimmer of hope flickered in the eyes of many, and murmurs surged through the gathering. The man who had slammed down his authority stood slightly apart, looking as if he were reconciling his rigid conviction with the growing camaraderie around him. Mike's eyes darted back to him. "What if we reached out? Gather together and brainstorm what we can do? Fundraising, grants, anything." "Good luck with that," the man scoffed, though Mike caught a hint of hesitation in his voice. It was a crack in the fortress, a possibility that maybe, just maybe, he could be brought into the fold. Just then, Sarah interrupted. "What if each of us brought a friend or two? We could organize a local event. Small businesses might want to support us too. Like a mini festival?" Lily suggested, a spirit of excitement fluttering back into her words. "Yes. Music, food, activities, something to draw people in and raise donations." Sarah's enthusiasm was infectious, and the whispers in the crowd shifted from dismay to possibilities. "Okay, but we need someone to take charge," Mike urged, heart racing as the crowd began exchanging glances, brainstorming their own ideas. Lily's hand slipped out of Mike's grasp briefly as she stepped forward. "What if I lead the planning? I can reach out to local businesses and artists." Before Mike could respond, an excited wave of support rolled through the crowd. People nodded, clapped, and whispered approval, eyes lighting up with the flicker of enthusiasm. "Fine," the man said, arms crossed but eyes softened. "But it better not turn into a disaster." Mike's heart surged as the group erupted in applause, their worries drifting away momentarily. Maybe they could really pull it off. He glanced at Lily, who was already diving into conversations with people around her. Each spark of determination piled atop the previous one, gathering strength like a snowball rolling down a hill. Yet, a nagging voice in the back of his head whispered fear, an echo of uncertainty that trouble might loom closer than they thought. The funding might be in jeopardy, but what if the crowd's enthusiasm spilled over into damage control instead? As ideas churned, he felt the warmth fade momentarily, concern creeping back. They could unite against anger, but could they face reality? Mike took a deep breath, remembering Lily's constant support. "Let us get started, everyone. No one else can stop us now." But just then, a shadow loomed from the edge of the crowd, a figure that stepped forward. It was someone he didn't recognize, a stranger with a determined gaze. I heard the rumors too, she began, pausing as the crowd turned to listen. What did you hear? Mike felt the pulse of tension return, shifting the dynamic yet again. Would their hard-won unity survive this new test, or was it about to unravel at its seams? The stranger's eyes darted around the crowd, landing momentarily on Mike before she continued. I've heard whispers about funding being cut, people talking about how this project might not make it. Her voice was steady, but it cut through the room like a knife. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. Mike's heart raced. This wasn't the plan. They were supposed to be rallying together, not inviting more fear. What do you mean? Lily stepped forward, defiance in her stance. We're planning a community event to raise funds. We're not done fighting yet. The stranger lifted her hands in a gesture of peace, her expression softening. I don't want to undermine your efforts. I've seen projects like yours succeed. It's just, well, I've also seen them fail. She locked eyes with Mike, and he felt the weight of her words. What's your name? Mike asked, trying to maintain control of the narrative. I'm Jenna, she replied, her voice firmer now. I work in financial consultancy and I could help. But you must know it won't be easy. What do you mean? We've got so much momentum, Mike countered, desperate to cling to hope. Jenna seemed unconvinced, her brow furrowing deeper. Momentum can fade, especially if problems aren't addressed. You need to understand the challenges you're up against. The crowd wasn't so quick to dismiss her warning either. Whispers of concern started to surface. Could they really maintain the energy? Would they throw this festival into chaos? Look, Jenna continued, if you want this event to actually make a difference, you need to have a solid plan in place first. You should know your target, the budget, and the people who'd be willing to help. Otherwise, it could all fall apart before you blink. The buzz of conversation grew more intense. Ideas started to spiral into the air, but now they felt uncertain. What if we don't raise enough funds? Someone from the back muttered, the fear freezing the once vibrant energy. Lily glanced around, then back at Mike. We can figure this out. We just have to trust each other, she said, her voice steady despite the tension. Yes, Mike added, standing taller despite the gnawing uncertainty in his gut. But we will need Jenna's help. Together, we can outline our options better. Jenna seemed taken aback for a moment. You really want my help? Of course. We're stronger together, Mike replied, tilting his chin up in determination, even if his heart was still racing. With a new plan set, Jenna nodded slowly, a tentative acceptance forming between them. All right, let's start organizing a strategic meeting tomorrow. I can help you break down the necessary components. The crowd erupted once more, people buzzing, hopeful, eager to commit. It was palpable, the sense of unity forging itself back into shape. But behind the cheers, Mike felt a new weight. The decisions they were about to make would determine the next steps not just for the festival, but for everyone's investment in this project. What if they weren't ready? As the meeting broke up, Mike turned to Lily, finding her gaze steady and bright. We've got this, right? He asked, searching for reassurance. We do, she affirmed, taking his hand again. But we need to be prepared for anything. Just then, a message on his phone beeped. Mike pulled it out, staring down at the screen. It was from a local businessman he had been trying to connect with. The message read, I'd like to meet about your needs. Can we discuss? What's it say? Lily leaned in, curious. It could be what we need, he murmured, excitement creeping back in despite the anxiety coiling inside him. But don't overthink it. Just say yes, Lily encouraged, squeezing his hand. Let us see what happens, Mike said. His heart was a mix of hope and apprehension. As they walked away from the crowd, he couldn't shake the sense that this was just the beginning of something big, or perhaps something that could shatter everything they had worked for. Would the businessmen's intentions align with their goals, or was he another piece in a puzzle that could crumble under pressure? The next day dawned with a silvery sheen of hope draping over the town. Mike woke up early, the sunlight filtering through his curtains, warming his skin. Today felt different, charged with a newfound sense of purpose. After a quick breakfast, he met Lily at their favorite coffee spot. The familiar smell of roasted beans filled the air, wrapping around them like a warm hug. "You ready for this?" she asked, her eyes shimmering with excitement and a hint of anxiety. "Yeah," Mike replied, taking a deep breath. "I think this could turn things around. We can finally get the resources we need." They settled into a corner table, where he could watch the door. With each tick of the clock, he felt his pulse quicken. Would this businessman hold the key they needed? As if on cue, the door swung open. A tall man in a tailored suit walked in, scanning the room until his eyes landed on Mike and Lily. He approached them with a firm handshake and a smile that seemed genuine, yet calculating. "Hi. I'm Derek. Thanks for agreeing to meet." "Of course," Mike replied, settling himself into a smile. "We really appreciate your time. We're excited about the potential of what we're working on." Derek took a seat, pulling a leather portfolio from his bag. "I've heard about your festival. You've got a community pushing hard for this. But I also heard that you might be struggling." Lily bristled a little, but Mike gave her a reassuring nod. "We've had some bumps in the road, but we know there's a lot of support. That's why we need financial backing. It's crucial for making this work." Derek opened his portfolio, revealing a few charts and figures. His cool demeanor shifted to a more engaged state as he explained how he typically invested in community-focused projects. "What you need is a strategic pitch. I can help with funding, but I want to ensure it's structured right." As Mike listened, he felt a surge of hope. Maybe this was the ally they needed. But a nagging voice whispered doubts. Did Derek have ulterior motives? Was he truly invested in the community, or was this just another business opportunity to him? "What kind of terms are we talking about?" Lily asked, raising an eyebrow. "We don't want to tie ourselves into something that could chain us down." Derek leaned back, his smile fading somewhat. "Common concern. I understand no one wants to commit without seeing the bigger picture first. I'm talking about a partnership here. I can provide funds, but I do want input on the direction of the event." "That's not exactly what we envisioned," Mike interjected. "This festival isn't just an event, it's a symbol for our community's resilience and dreams. We don't want it to become a corporate affair." Derek's expression remained unreadable. "Fair point," he replied without any hint of offense. "But partnerships often require compromise. If you want resources, you might have to let someone else steer the ship a bit." Lily and Mike exchanged glances. The warmth of possibility was now clouded by uncertainty. As they navigated this new territory, the two of them stood at a crossroads. They could grasp for the lifeline Derek offered, but at what cost? The conversation continued, but both felt the stakes rising. Mike noticed a familiar flicker in Lily's eyes, a blend of determination and vulnerability. They knew they had to be cautious yet bold. As they wrapped up the meeting, Derek slid a business card toward them. "Think it over. I could bring not just money, but connections. And trust me, you'll need them." They left the cafe, the buzz of hopeful energy still lingering, but now it felt different. It was tinged with doubt, like dark clouds looming on the horizon. "Did that feel right to you?" Mike asked as they walked. "It felt complicated," Lily admitted, biting her lip. "I'm not sure what to think." As they reached the park, Mike felt a knot tightening in his stomach. "I wanted answers today, not more questions." "Sometimes that's part of the journey," she said softly. "But we'll navigate it together, right?" "Right," Mike replied. But he couldn't shake the feeling of unease settling in. The festival was becoming a battleground for their hopes, and they needed to be ready for whatever storm might come next. He glanced back toward the cafe, where Derek was still sitting, making notes. What if this was just the beginning of a whole new struggle? Let's hurry and regroup with Jenna, Lily suggested, breaking his train of thought. We need a game plan. As they turned on their heels, Mike couldn't help but wonder, was there something deeper to Derek's offer? What were the implications that lay hidden behind his polished smile? As they made their way to the park, an array of thoughts churned in Mike's mind. The sun warmed his back, but his heart felt heavy. Lily's words echoed, yet the shadow of uncertainty loomed larger. They always spoke of the festival as a beacon for the community, a testament to its strength. But could they really lead it without losing the essence of what made it special? Jenna was already waiting for them on a bench, tapping her foot nervously, fidgeting with her phone. She looked up and immediately sensed their somber mood. How did it go? She asked, eyes sparkling with curiosity. Derek has the potential to help, Lily started, but Mike cut in. Or hurt us, he said bluntly. It's not just about money. He wants to steer it. Jenna frowned, crossing her arms. What do you mean? Mike took a deep breath, trying to gather his thoughts. He talked about partnerships but sounded more interested in the direction of the festival than in what we want it to represent. Isn't that the cost of getting what we need? Jenna questioned with a tilt of her head. It shouldn't be, Mike replied sharply, the frustration boiling within him. This festival matters to everyone, it's not just a profit opportunity. Lily's hand found Mike's, squeezing gently. We have to prioritize our vision, our community. Not let someone else dictate it. Nodding in agreement, Jenna met Mike's gaze. Exactly. We're not here for a corporate takeover. But we need a plan. If we decide to meet him again, we have to know exactly what we're willing to compromise on. Let us brainstorm, Lily said, her excitement beginning to surface amidst the concern. What if we came up with a proposal that includes community input? If we can showcase that our project has broad support, maybe he'll reconsider his terms. Mike raised an eyebrow. You think that will work? He seems set in his ways. The thing is, he may be wealthy, but we have something he doesn't, Lily reasoned. We have the heart of this town. If we can show that our festival isn't just a money grab, but a movement, he might be on board. Jenna, ever the strategist, nodded slowly. We should gather testimonials, maybe even throw an informal gathering. The more voices we can present him, the harder it will be for him to dismiss our vision. As they brainstormed, Mike felt a tiny flicker of hope flare up against the tide of doubt. Maybe they could steer Derek subtly, showing him the real power of the community behind their dream. But in the back of his mind, a question lingered. Would Derek truly be open to their vision, or was he already set on molding the festival into something unrecognizable? The three of them spent the next hour outlining ideas, fueled by coffee and determination. Laughter peppered the seriousness of their discussion, and for a moment, the anxiety faded. They were a team, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As the sun began to dip below the trees, Mike thought about Derek. Perhaps he was just a businessman looking to expand his portfolio, but deep down, Mike wondered if there was more to him. Could he be the ally they needed, or would he become the very obstacle they had to overcome? Whatever happens next, Mike said, voice steady, we have to stay true to what this festival means. Our community deserves that. The energy shifted as Lily shared her excitement, but Mike caught a glimpse of the park's shadow stretching longer, like the uncertainties they faced. Let us get some feedback from the community, Jenna suggested, her eyes bright. Organize a meetup. Get everyone involved. Yeah, let us do it, Mike said, feeling more inspired with each passing moment. As they prepared to leave, something caught Mike's eye: a little girl with a homemade sign that read "We love our festival." She was running in a small circle, joy radiating from her. That was it. The reason why they were fighting. The image embedded itself in Mike's mind, igniting a resolve. But as they walked away, he couldn't shake the feeling that danger still lurked ahead. What if the celebration they envisioned faded away before it even began? Are we ready for this? Mike finally asked, glancing at his friends with a mixture of hope and fear. Only if we stick together, Lily replied with a smile. And with that, they headed toward home, carrying their hope, yet fully aware of the deep waters they were about to plunge into. But in the shadows, behind the facade of Derek's polished exterior, what secrets lingered just out of view? The day of the festival dawned with a crisp breeze, as sunlight spilled across the town park, illuminating the vibrant decorations and stalls. Balloons danced on strings and laughter floated through the air, weaving itself into a melody of hope and resilience. Mike couldn't believe this was happening. The community was alive and pulsing with excitement. As he stood behind the welcome booth, surrounded by fellow volunteers, he spotted Lily zipping around with Sarah, her eyes alight with enthusiasm. She had transformed from the teenager grappling with grief into a confident young woman eager to reclaim their family's legacy. His heart swelled with pride. People began gathering, filling the park with eager chatter. Mike felt a surge of adrenaline. The moment they had fought for was finally here. But beneath the excitement, a tiny thread of worry tugged at him. Would Derek appear? Would he disrupt the momentum they had built? But today wasn't just about them, it was about the community and the spirit they had ignited together. As he cast another glance at the crowd, he spotted Jenna organizing a group to kick off the first activity, a local band ready to play. The cheerful tunes complemented the lively atmosphere, and the collective heartbeat of hope echoed through the gathering. "Hey, Dad!" Lily called, rushing back toward him, her cheeks flushed with excitement. "Can you help me with the announcements? They want to introduce the opening act." "Of course." He grinned, feeling the warmth of her renewed spirit wash over him. As they prepared for the start of the festivities, Mike felt the rush of adrenaline mixed with worry. "You know it'll be fine, right?" Lily caught his eye as they stood behind the microphone. "This is what we worked for." "Yeah, I know. Just a lot is riding on this," he admitted, finding her certainty comforting. Lily's gaze was steady. "You've got this, Dad. We've got this." As they stepped onto the stage, the crowd quieted, turning expectant faces toward them. The vibrant tapestry of the festival buzzed with life, yet it was this very silence that made Mike's heart race. "Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming out today." Mike began, his voice steady yet filled with emotion. "Today isn't just about a festival, it's about us, our strength as a community. Together, we're weaving a brighter future." Applause erupted, a swell of support washing over him. He caught sight of familiar faces, memories flooding back, filling him with warmth. They were all in this together. Just as they finished the introduction, a figure stepped grudgingly through the crowd. Derek. The tension in Mike's gut tightened, but he pushed it aside, determined not to let fear drown their progress. "Let us embrace every moment," he said, turning back to the thrumming crowd. "Let us celebrate what we've built and look towards the future." The band kicked into their first song, encasing the crowd in vibrant energy. Laughter rang out, and the chatter of children playing filled the air. Yet, even amid the joy, Mike stole another glance at Derek, who stood aside, arms crossed, his expression inscrutable. "Hey, Dad, I'll be right back." Lily darted off, breaking through the crowd toward a gathering of friends. Mike felt a twinge of anxiety wash over him as she blended into the throng of colorful laughter. But he forced himself to breathe, believing in the strength of the moment. Could this even be what she needed, the very thing to mend what had once felt broken? For the next few hours, the festival blossomed, each event overflowing with people. Local businesses showcased their work while children played nearby. Mike's heart lifted with each laugh, each shared experience, every moment of connection. But the fleeting sense of triumph was interrupted when he caught Derek's gaze again. The man approached him now, confidence oozing as if he were thinking this was just a business transaction. "Nice turnout," Derek commented, his tone icy yet observing. "Looks like you managed to pull it together after all." "Yeah, It's all thanks to the community, Mike responded, his tone wary. Everyone really rallied. This isn't just an event, it's a movement. Sure, but let us talk logistics, Derek countered, his focus shifting like a hawk eyeing its prey. You'll want to ensure the next steps are defined. Numbers matter. Mike felt frustration bubbling beneath the surface. No one here is thinking about numbers, they're enjoying themselves. We're connecting. Derek's expression shifted slightly, as if surprised by Mike's fervor. Alright, but keep in mind you thanked the community, but you might want to consider my offer more seriously later. Why? You're not interested in what benefits the people, Mike snapped, his heart racing. You want to dictate how we celebrate our bonds. In that instant, as he spoke truth into the air, Mike could see the realization flash across Derek's face. Maybe he hadn't expected pushback. Maybe he thought he could cast shadows on their light without resistance. But it wasn't happening today. Lily needs to explore her dreams, build her vision, and I'll not let anyone take that away. Not you, not anyone, Mike declared firmly. Derek hesitated, watching Mike's determination. The tension hung heavy, but Mike didn't flinch. Before Derek could respond, Lily reappeared, dragging Sarah beside her, both radiant with laughter. Look at this huge crowd, Dad! She exclaimed, her joy infectious. Mike's heart swelled as he glanced between the two incredible women in his life. Daisy's food truck has the longest line ever. Lily continued. They love it. That's what it's all about, Mike replied, grounding himself. Then without thinking, he turned to the crowd, raising his voice. Thank you, everyone, for being here, for helping us reclaim this space. The cheers echoed in the park, ringing true through the hearts gathered there. Moments of celebration continued, lives intertwining like fabric, woven together to create something beautiful. As he caught Lily's delighted smile, Mike realized that today wasn't just a festival, it was a testament to their journey, a launching point for change and unwavering connection. Maybe Derek would still linger, possibly pushing from the outside, but the essence of what mattered was alive, and Mike, for the first time in a while, felt ready to face whatever came next. As the music played on, and bodies danced, laughter rang like church bells in the background, his heart was full. This was what family felt like, not just in blood but in spirit and unity. And as they embraced the joy of the day, one undeniable truth emerged: together, they were unstoppable. Mike took a deep breath, his heart steady now, knowing that despite uncertainties ahead, the path would always lead back to where it mattered most: home. If you resonated with Mike and Lily's journey, now is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe immediately to never miss another story that transforms lives. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and share the love. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending. Your thoughts matter. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. It might spark change in their lives too. Your support means the world.